Today we're going to make a sausage gnocchi soup. This one is great for during the week. It does take a touch more than 30 minutes, but it is really easy to make. Here are the ingredients. Let's get into it right now. Okay, so I always like to go over the ingredients. It's good for me. It's good for you. You've heard this before if you watch this channel. Let's go over here first. We have 1 pound of bulk Italian sausage that has fennel in it. You can actually see a bunch of fennel seeds there. Now, if the one you buy says fennel and has no fennel flavor, I recommend just putting more fennel seeds in. And I probably will even add some more to this because it's a beautiful flavor with the other ingredients in this recipe. And speaking of another interesting ingredient, probably for you, is a leek. Maybe you use leeks a lot, but I don't use them too much, but I have one of them. I have 3 celery ribs that I diced, okay, just like a moderate dice. I have 3 medium carrots that I diced. I have 1 cup of dry white wine that's gonna give it a beautiful balance to this, a nice acid balance. I have 1.5 cups of heavy cream. You can omit the cream if you want. It'll be a much thinner soup. I think this is good, especially over 6 to 8 portions. It's not ultra thick soup by any means. I have 6 cloves of garlic that I minced. I have a parmesan rind that's hiding over here. Okay, now these are great. I always save them. I recommend you do the same. You know, you're spending that money on the block of cheese. Save that, make it work for you. Just wrap it tight in plastic, put it in the freezer. That's all you have to do. And then gnocchi I have. So the recipe says 1 pound sausage, 1 pound of gnocchi. I'm using close to 1.5 pounds here because I want to have extra tonight for dinner. These are store-bought gnocchi, but they're in the refrigerator section. I recommend if you have the choice to do that, buy them that way instead of the ones that are dried in the pasta section. If you want to make, a homemade gnocchi, I have a video for it. I have a bunch of recipes on my site too. I did sweet potato, I think I did butternut squash, regular potato. It takes a long time to make it, no matter how fast you are, and that will kind of defeat the purpose of a quick weeknight meal if you're going to make this from scratch. That all being said, if you have them, definitely use them. And then at the end, we're going to put in 5 ounces of baby spinach. You can use any greens you like for this. And then the final touch is basil. Now I know if I open this container, it's all gonna go poof to nothing. So I'm saving it for the last second. We're past summer now, so the basil is gone. Yeah, this huge thing in front of me is chicken stock. It's 8 cups of it. So yeah, I'm using Better Than Bouillon low sodium chicken base to make it. One other ingredient that's not showing here is olive oil, but I always tell you everything as we go along too. I make these videos for you so you can learn to actually cook, okay? If you want to see videos where you won't learn to cook at all, you can watch my Instagram stuff, okay? They're really silly, but you're here for the learning. Okay, here's a leek. This is how they come in the store. This is exactly how they always come here. This part over here, the very far end, you're not gonna eat it all, but for a soup like this, we don't really wanna eat any of this green part here. So I'm gonna cut down to here, okay? I'm gonna get rid of this. You can do something else with it if you like. You can start peeling away and try to get some of the tender part, but again, for this soup, I just want the tender part, and I'll even take off this sleeve. Okay, I'm gonna cut off this part too, okay? So look, when you cut it, it's always the top, the dark green area will have all the dirt. And there's not too much dirt here on this side. All you gotta do is take each piece and run it under water. This part down here, the root side, will always be very clean, so you could just do a tiny bit of cleaning there. But all right, I'll just rinse these underwater. Be right back. You can dry them off a little bit. We're gonna saute them, so it's not the biggest deal. And I'm just gonna chop them like this. You could go down the middle one more time, but this is gonna be fine. And they're similar to onions, but that's what I'm looking for, like this. This is gonna be really nice in the soup. Maybe you are a person who uses them a lot. They're beautiful with potatoes. So a potato leek soup, which is kind of like leeks, and the gnocchi is similar to that. All right, I'm gonna turn this to about a 6 out of 10. I'm using a stainless steel pot here. So preheat your stainless steel pot so the meat doesn't stick. Always with stainless steel. You can also use a Dutch oven here, but my Dutch oven is being used for sauerbraten. So I'm using regular olive oil here. You can use extra virgin if you want, but it's gonna be pretty high heat here, being a 6 out of 10. So we have a lot of fat from the sausage and we have some more fat from the oil. Try to move it each a little bit, spread it out as best you can so it all gets contact with the bottom of the pot. Just leave it alone for a couple minutes so it'll get a little bit brown on one side. It smells good, a lot of fennel in there, but I'm gonna put more because I really like it. All right, so I'm gonna flip it over. We got some nice color on there. Just try to turn it over so you can hit the other side, don't get splashed. And we'll let that go for about 2 minutes. All right, and I'm using a meat masher. This is a good investment. It's like $8. Buy one on Amazon or buy it in the dollar store. It really breaks up the meat better than a wooden spoon or really anything. Okay, so our sausage is nice and brown. And I have a slotted spoon here, and I'm gonna remove it to a plate. I wanna use a slotted spoon so I can keep most of my fat from the sausage and the olive oil in the pot. And do not worry if you leave some of the pieces in there, it's gonna be fine. I just need to get enough room in here so we can do our veggies. Some guy one time said, he's like, I can't believe you said veggies. He goes, I'm out. He goes, that's it. I was like, I did not know that was gonna be the breaking point. So there's the sausage looking really nice. Just get the carrots in, or celery, normally celery. Looks like that. Here are the carrots. So that is 3 medium carrots, 3 ribs of celery, and the leeks. Okay, this is aqua, just put it in the pot. That's just gonna deglaze that quickly. Just remove some of the brown bits at the bottom. And you could also have used some of your wine that you're saving, but I figured just hit it up with just a touch of water to start. For the temporary, you could just crank your heat to almost medium, high, just to evaporate that liquid quick. Then we'll lower it back down. We'll do about anywhere from level 4 to a level 6. And we wanna cook these vegetables until they get very soft, which will take about 10 to 15 minutes. Let's put a little bit of salt on them too, which will help some of the water release. Okay, so that was at almost high heat for about 3 minutes. All my water has evaporated now. I was able to dislodge everything on the bottom of the pan. See that, how it's nice and clear? So now lower your heat back down to about a 4 out of 10. If you need to put a little bit more oil in there, go for it, it's fine. And now we're gonna keep cooking these, stirring every so often until they get nice and soft, okay? Probably another 10 minutes from this point. If at any time you feel like you're burning, lift your pot up or just take a little bit more water and just pour it in there. Just a splash, that's all you need. And that'll lower the temp of the pot. So I said there's a lot of fennel in here, but I do like it, so I'm gonna put a little bit more. Probably another teaspoon. And we'll just cook that in there with the vegetables and the oil. Okay, so my vegetables are very soft now, you can see. And this is 6 cloves of minced garlic. Also, my chicken stock, because I'm prepping the ingredients in advance, was super cold, so I'm just heating it up in the microwave for a couple minutes just to get it warm. So when we add all that stock in a couple minutes, then I'm not just bringing the temperature super down on this. Let's cook this garlic for about 2 minutes. Okay, it's been 2 minutes with that. And now let's get the dry white wine in. This is 1 cup. Keep your head back when you do that. Turn up the heat to high. Want to reduce this liquid by about half. You don't need to reduce it all. You don't need to cook it all out. Stop with that. Stop. Okay, so that has reduced by about half. Now you can put in the sausage. We're gonna return this right back. All that sausage and the fat. And then this is, I have about 7 cups, but recipe says 8, or I think 8. All right, so let's bring this to a simmer. Mix that around. Forgot something, the parm rind, okay? And then bring this to a boil, okay? Get it on high. Okay, so this is boiling. You can lower that heat to about a simmer. Once that boils, you can put the cream in. Or you can let it simmer for a few minutes, but I'm gonna let this cream simmer in here for about 10 minutes. I wanna get all these flavors kind of melded together, because once the gnocchi go in there, it's two minutes. You're not gonna cook them in there or they'll turn to mush. And yes, you could put heavy cream into this hot liquid, it's not gonna break. If you're doing half and half, big no-no, okay? So I'm just letting it simmer gently, okay? Simmer just means very small bubbles. It could be even a little bit less than this. I just want to show you the consistency of this is fairly thin. So even when we put in the gnocchi, it's not going to thicken it up dramatically. It just isn't. But I kind of like the contrast of the thin, creamy broth to those, the big bites of the gnocchi. But what you can do if you really want this thick, very simple, because you already have potato in here, this would be a logical thing to actually break out the instant mashed potatoes. And a tablespoon of that, mix it in there and just wait a minute, it will start thickening. Don't go overboard with it, just do a little bit at a time and you will be able to make a super creamy soup with it. The same principle of how you make mashed potatoes out of this, which I don't use these terribly often. The time I really break these out is when I need a picture and I need mashed potatoes next to something and I don't feel like making mashed potatoes. Okay, so that's been simmering for about 10 minutes. There's no reason why you can't let it simmer longer if you want. You could taste it now, season, but I would just wait till you put in the gnocchi and the spinach, because the spinach is 5 cups of it. Now again, the recipe calls for 1 pound. I put in a little less than 1.5 pounds there. And we're just gonna let these cook for about 3 minutes. Okay, so these are almost done. I just tasted one. Salt levels are fine, so they'll probably still be fine even with the spinach. Definitely a lot of black pepper in here. Black pepper in like a cream sauce, creamy soup, everything is just really good. So here's the spinach, 5 ounces. This says triple washed in the store, so you can wash it a 4th time if you like. Or you could use baking soda and put it in the sink, like those maniacs that do that, you know? Okay, so I'm just gonna mix this around for like 30 seconds. She's laughing at me. You want to, I know, Tara, you want to do that, right? With the vegetables and, and the fruit? I know.
I do.
That's why I said it. So this is all you gotta do, 30 seconds here. That's it. I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna pop it over here. Make sure you move your stove out of the way. Now let's taste again, because we added the spinach. Maybe a touch of salt now. And more black pepper. And then the basil leaves. If you have nice basil, just put it in. I always like to save this kind. You put a little bit in now, but I like to save it for the dish. But for now, you can get in some of it, like this. So we just made this the other day, and the basil really just takes it over the top. So I do recommend that you get it and that you use it. Do you agree with that, Tara, or not?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And the cheese too, the rind, I would serve this with extra cheese. We're gonna serve this for the taste tester right now and see what he thinks. What was today? First day of what?
First day of school.
First day of what grade? You in
8th
11th or 12th grade?
8th.
8th?
Yeah.
Some people think you're like you're such an old teenager, you know? He's an old soul.
All right, I'm gonna try this.
It's kind of cool. It's been sitting for you.
Still good. I love this soup. I already tried this. It's like probably my favorite soup.
Really?
Actually. It's my 3rd favorite soup.
What's your 1 and 2?
Maybe 2nd. My number 1 is Panera broccoli cheddar soup.
Yes, of course.
And then this is interchangeable with like Panera tomato soup.
Is there any your dad's soups in the top 10 besides this one?
No, Panera is better.
All
Panera
right.
has really good soup. This is number 3 though.
Panera, if you're listening, taste tester for you. Let me ask you a question. This is a little thin on the thin side. I kind of like it this way with the heavy gnocchi. What do you think? Would you like it really creamy or not?
I love this.
You like it like this? I think people want to know that because that might be something they want to change.
I actually want to say I'm going to start changing up the ratings a little bit because I feel like I've been giving like a ton of stuff a 10 out of 10 and I feel like I've been being too generous. So instead of like in like a 7 or an 8 out of 10 being like okay, I think I'm going to do like a 5 out of 10 is okay because that's right in the middle.
What? That's a drastic change for the audience.
And should I not change it though?
No, you can. I think everybody would appreciate if you are a little stricter. You know, so from this point forward, you're saying that like a 10 is going to be extremely rare.
I've given too many things 10s, which I think should be 9s. I feel like a 10 is the best of the best. Certain things should get 10s, because there's certain things that I give 10s that are like less of a 10 than other 10s.
So you're setting this up basically, even though this is your favorite soup I make, this is not a 10.
Usually I would give this a 10, but now since I've changed up the ratings, I'm gonna give it a 9.
Well, I think a 9 on this new rating scale is still really good.
Yeah, that's like one of the best. A lot of the things I give a 10 are not as good as the other 10s, so those are gonna be like the 9s.
Is there anything I could have done to get a 10 in this one?
No, it's perfect.
Okay, it's a perfect 9. That's what it is. All right, I'll see you next time. And James will finish the whole bowl with that 9. Perfect 9 bowl.